Nearly 40% of single-mother families in America live in poverty, 5 times the rate of two-parent homes. Christine Martinez was about to become another statistic until she discovered a systematic approach to freelancing that completely transformed her financial reality in less than a year. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact templates, resources, and step-by-step plan Christine used to build her $6,500 monthly income while caring for 2 kids. This isn't about getting lucky or having special talents. It's about following a proven system that works even when everything else in your life feels like it's falling apart. The day everything changed, Christine's financial breaking point. What would you do if you checked your bank account and realized you couldn't cover next month's rent with 2 kids depending on you? That's exactly what happened to Christine Martinez just 11 months ago. Christine was a dedicated tech worker at a mid-sized software company in Austin. At 32, she'd built what seemed like a stable life for herself and her 2 children, Emma, 8, and Lucas, 6. Her job as a project coordinator paid the bills, provided health insurance, and even allowed for the occasional pizza night with the kids. It wasn't luxurious, but it was secure, or so she thought. Then came that Tuesday morning. Christine had just dropped the kids at school when her phone buzzed with a calendar notification. All hands meeting, 9:30 a.m. Walking into the conference room, she immediately noticed the tension. The CEO's grim expression told the story before he even opened his mouth. Due to the recent economic downturn and loss of our 3 major clients, we have to make immediate staffing reductions. Christine's department was hit hardest. By 11 a.m., she was sitting in her car, cardboard box of desk plants and family photos on the passenger seat, termination paperwork tucked in her bag along with a severance check that wouldn't even cover a full month of expenses. I remember sitting there, just staring at the steering wheel, Christine told me. My hands were shaking so badly, I couldn't even put the key in the ignition. All I could think was, what am I going to tell Emma and Lucas? That evening, after putting on a brave face through dinner and bedtime stories, Christine finally allowed herself to face reality. Sitting at her kitchen table with bills spread out before her, the numbers were brutal. Her bank account showed $426, not even enough for next month's rent. Her monthly expenses totaled $3,800, $1,900 for rent, $620 for utilities and internet, $780 for groceries, $400 for car payment and insurance, and $100 for her kids' school expenses. Even worse, she was carrying $200 in credit card debt, mostly from emergency car repairs and medical bills from when Lucas had pneumonia last winter. The minimum payments alone were eating up $240 every month. I locked myself in the bathroom and just broke down, Christine recalled. I could hear my kids sleeping through the wall, completely unaware that we might not have a home in 30 days. That was the worst part, knowing they were depending on me and feeling like I had failed them. The next morning, Christine jumped into job hunting mode with fierce determination. She updated her resume, set up job alerts, and began applying to every opening remotely related to her skills. She was confident her 5 years of experience would land her something quickly. But the tech industry was struggling. Companies weren't just slowing hiring. Many were conducting layoffs of their own. For every position, hundreds of qualified candidates were competing. Christine's inbox filled with automated rejection emails faster than she could apply to new openings. After the first week, I had applied to 47 jobs and received 23 rejections. The rest didn't even bother to respond, she said. By the end of week 2, those numbers had doubled, and I was starting to panic. Christine's severance would only last until the end of the month. She had already called her landlord to explain the situation and ask for flexibility. He agreed to a 2-week grace period, but made it clear he couldn't extend beyond that. She cut expenses to the bone, canceling subscriptions, switching to the cheapest grocery options, even turning the air conditioning off during the day, despite the Texas heat. Still, the math wasn't adding up. Even with these drastic cuts, she needed income, and fast. The breaking point came exactly 17 days after losing her job. Christine had just received her 5th rejection email of the day, this one from a company she thought was a perfect fit. The message stung more than the others. While your qualifications are impressive, we've decided to move forward with candidates who have more specialized experience in our industry. It was 9:30 p.m. The kids were asleep, and Christine sat at her kitchen table, staring at her laptop screen, the blue light illuminating the stack of bills beside her. She had been refreshing her email every few minutes, hoping for positive news from any of the dozens of applications still pending. "I remember this moment so clearly," Christine said. "I closed my laptop and just sat there in the dark kitchen. That's when it hit me. I was completely at the mercy of hiring managers who didn't know me, didn't know my situation, and certainly didn't care that my kids might not have a place to live next month." The realization was both terrifying and oddly liberating. Traditional employment, the path she'd been taught would provide security, had betrayed her. Waiting for someone to pick her from a pile of resumes wasn't going to solve her immediate crisis. That night, unable to sleep, Christine found herself searching the internet at 2 a.m., fingers typing frantically. How to make money fast, emergency income for single parents, work from home no experience. Most results were either get-rich-quick schemes or required investments she couldn't afford. But buried in a forum thread, she found a comment that changed everything. "Stop thinking about jobs and start thinking about problems you can solve. People pay for solutions, not resumes." Something clicked. Christine grabbed a notebook and started writing down every skill she had, every problem she knew how to solve. Her work in project coordination had taught her organizational systems. She had basic experience with the company website and social media. She was good at explaining complex ideas in simple terms. None of these seemed like standalone career skills, but what if they could be pieces of something new? What if, instead of searching for a job that matched her old role, she could create income by directly solving problems for people or businesses? "I stayed up until sunrise that night," Christine recalled. "By morning, I had this crazy idea that maybe I didn't need to wait for someone to hire me. Maybe I could create my own opportunity." That moment, sitting at her kitchen table at 2 a.m., out of options and forced to think differently, was the crisis point that changed everything. Christine didn't know it yet, but it was the first step toward building the $6,500 monthly income she enjoys today. "Looking back, losing my job was the best thing that ever happened to me," Christine said. "Not because it was easy, those first few months were the hardest of my life, but because it forced me to stop putting my financial security in someone else's hands." The mindset shift, from job seeker to skill builder. That shift in mindset, from victim of circumstance to architect of her own future, became Christine's turning point. While most unemployed professionals spend months perfecting resumes and cover letters, Christine stumbled upon a secret that changed everything. The freelance economy doesn't care about your employment gaps or fancy degrees. What Christine discovered next about in-demand skills would transform her from desperate job seeker to confident income builder in just 90 days. For those first few weeks after losing her job, Christine was trapped in a vicious cycle. Each morning, she'd wake up at 5 a.m., brew a pot of coffee, and spend 6 straight hours submitting applications before her kids returned from school. Despite customizing every cover letter and tweaking her resume dozens of times, her inbox remained painfully empty, except for automated rejection emails. "I felt like I was begging for permission to earn a living," Christine told me. "I was putting my entire financial future in the hands of HR departments who couldn't see past the gap in my employment." The breakthrough came during a late-night research session. Instead of searching for jobs for former tech workers, Christine typed, "How to make money without a job." That simple shift led her to countless stories of people building income through freelancing, people without fancy degrees or connections who were earning substantial income by offering specific skills directly to clients. "It hit me like a ton of bricks," Christine explained. "I had been asking the wrong question. Instead of who will hire me, I needed to ask, what problems can I solve for people who will pay me?" This realization completely changed her approach. Rather than waiting for someone to grant her employment, she could create her own income stream by developing marketable skills and offering them directly to clients who needed those specific services. But which skills should she focus on? Christine knew she couldn't afford to spend months or years retraining. With her savings nearly depleted, she needed to identify skills that met three crucial criteria: high demand in the market, relatively quick learning curve, and alignment with her existing abilities. Christine created a spreadsheet to analyze the freelance marketplace. She spent 3 days researching platforms like Upwork and Fiverr, noting which services commanded the highest rates and had the most consistent demand. She cross-referenced this information with learning resources, looking specifically for skills she could develop within 1 to 3 months without expensive training programs. The freelance economy data revealed something surprising. While specialist roles often paid more per hour, generalists who combined complementary skills could piece together more consistent work. Christine noticed that freelancers who offered packages of related services, like website creation combined with ongoing maintenance, seemed to maintain more stable income streams. Christine's research revealed that the freelance economy is projected to grow significantly, potentially reaching $9.57 million by 2030. This expanding marketplace is increasingly relying on platforms like Upwork and Fiverr, where skills matter more than credentials. Doubt crept in as Christine considered her situation. How am I supposed to learn new skills while taking care of 2 young kids? She wondered. I barely have time to shower some days, let alone study for hours. The traditional paths to skill development, going back to school or taking expensive boot camps, were completely out of reach financially. To overcome this obstacle, Christine created what she called a skills inventory. On a blank sheet of paper, she listed every transferable skill from her previous role as a project coordinator. Though she wasn't a developer, she had managed tech projects, communicated with clients, organized documentation, and kept teams on schedule. These soft skills, communication, organization, project management, could be valuable foundations to build upon. Next, Christine assessed her natural abilities and interests outside of work. She had always been the friend who helped others set up their websites or social media accounts. Though not a professional designer, she had an eye for clean layouts and user-friendly interfaces. She enjoyed writing and had occasionally helped edit company newsletters. By connecting her existing abilities with market needs, Christine identified 3 specific skill areas that would become the foundation of her new income strategy. First was web development, specifically creating simple but professional websites for small businesses. According to LinkedIn data, web development skills remain consistently in demand, with even entry-level practitioners able to command reasonable rates. Christine discovered that foundational skills like HTML, CSS, and basic JavaScript could be learned within a relatively short time frame, typically 1 to 3 months for beginners. The second skill area was digital marketing, with a focus on search engine optimization, SEO, and social media marketing, both listed among LinkedIn's most in-demand freelance skills for 2024. Small businesses desperately need these services, but often can't afford agency prices. A freelancer offering targeted, results-focused marketing help could fill this gap perfectly. The third skill Christine selected was content creation, specifically writing marketing copy and creating simple social media graphics. This leveraged her natural writing abilities while opening doors to recurring work like monthly blog posts or weekly social media updates. What made this 3-skill approach powerful wasn't just the individual skills, but how they complemented each other. A client needing a website might also need help with SEO and content. By offering related services, Christine could increase her value to each client while creating multiple income streams. The revelation wasn't just about the specific skills, Christine explained. It was understanding that I could diversify my income streams by leveraging multiple related abilities. If one client disappeared, I wouldn't be back at square one. The data supported her approach. Successful freelancers often enhance their earning potential by offering complementary services rather than hyper-specializing in just one area. This diversification provides both higher income potential and greater stability. For Christine, this skill-building approach represented more than just income potential. It offered control. Rather than hoping an employer would see her value, she could directly demonstrate that value by solving specific problems. No one could take these skills away from her, and she could continue building them throughout her career. The timeline was ambitious but clear. Skills in web development could be built in 1 to 3 months using structured learning paths from platforms like FreeCodeCamp, which offers hands-on projects to build practical abilities. Digital marketing fundamentals could be learned through free certifications, while content creation skills could be developed through practice and feedback. Learning phase: mastering high-value skills without spending money. The plan looked perfect on paper, but Christine quickly realized that theoretical skill paths don't account for toddler tantrums and empty bank accounts. Most career changers get stuck right here, having a roadmap, but no practical way to execute it when you're broke and parenting solo. What Christine discovered next challenges everything you've heard about needing expensive boot camps or degrees to build marketable skills. When Christine typed "learn web development for free" into her search bar at 1 a.m., she uncovered an entire ecosystem of no-cost resources that professionals actually respect. The Odin project offered a comprehensive curriculum covering everything from HTML basics to full-stack development. FreeCodeCamp provided interactive coding challenges with immediate feedback. Google's digital marketing certification gave her access to industry-recognized credentials without spending a dime. This is amazing, Christine thought, but when am I supposed to actually learn all this? Like many parents, Christine initially tried cramming study sessions into random pockets of free time, 15 minutes while cooking dinner, 10 minutes in the school pickup line. The result? Frustration and minimal progress. She'd barely make it through a coding lesson before a child needed something, leaving her constantly starting over and retaining almost nothing. 2 weeks in, she was ready to give up. That's when Christine realized she needed a learning system as strategic as her skill selection had been. My biggest breakthrough wasn't finding the resources. It was creating an unbreakable learning schedule that worked with my life as a mom, Christine would later tell friends. She mapped out her children's patterns and discovered 2 golden opportunities: afternoon nap time for her youngest and the 2 hours after both kids went to bed. These became her learning fortress times, periods where she could guarantee uninterrupted focus. Christine's learning schedule wasn't just about timing, though. She created a detailed progression plan for each skill with specific mini milestones. For web development, she dedicated the first 2 weeks entirely to HTML and CSS fundamentals. No fancy JavaScript, no frameworks, just mastering the building blocks. The next 4 weeks focused exclusively on JavaScript basics: variables, functions, loops, and DOM manipulation. Finally, she spent 2 weeks building simple but complete websites that combined all these skills. While building her web skills, Christine simultaneously worked through Google's digital marketing certification during alternate study sessions. The program's structure allowed her to complete it in just 3 weeks, giving her foundational knowledge in SEO, content marketing, and analytics. But Christine quickly realized something that separates successful self-taught professionals from eternal beginners. Passive consumption of tutorials creates the illusion of learning without actual skill building. I was watching video after video, nodding along thinking I understood everything. But when I tried to build something on my own, my mind went blank, Christine admitted. That's when she adopted what she called her build-to-learn approach. After each lesson, she forced herself to create something, no matter how small. After learning about CSS Flexbox, she built a simple photo gallery. After studying JavaScript arrays, she created a dynamic to-do list. These weren't polished portfolio pieces. They were learning tools. Each mini project cemented concepts in ways that passive watching never could. She built a personal website, created a simple quiz app with JavaScript, and developed a basic blog interface, all serving as proof of her growing abilities. What made Christine's approach different was her reliance on communities, not just courses. When stuck on coding problems, she turned to Stack Overflow and Reddit's programming communities for answers. These forums became her virtual classmates, providing the support traditional students get from peers and instructors. Christine discovered that hands-on projects provided something crucial that tutorials couldn't: real context for problem solving. When building her first responsive website, She encountered browser compatibility issues no tutorial had covered. Solving these real-world problems taught her more than any structured lesson. I realized that tutorials are like reading about swimming, but projects are actually getting in the water, Christine noted. The difference is everything. As her skills developed, Christine faced a challenge common to self-taught learners: information overload. The web development world alone contains dozens of frameworks, languages, and platforms. Should she learn React or Angular, Python or PHP? The options seemed endless and overwhelming. Christine's solution was ruthless prioritization based on market demand and learning curve. She focused exclusively on the technologies that entry-level freelancers were actually getting paid to use. This meant mastering core HTML, CSS, JavaScript before touching any fancy frameworks. For each skill, Christine created what she called minimum viable knowledge, the smallest set of capabilities needed to deliver actual value to clients. She didn't need to become a JavaScript expert. She needed to build functional websites that solved real problems. The breakthrough came when Christine stopped thinking like a student and started thinking like a service provider. Instead of asking, "What else should I learn?" she began asking, "What specific problems can I solve with what I already know?" This shift transformed her learning process. Every new technique was immediately applied to a potential client scenario. How could this JavaScript function help a small business owner display their store hours dynamically? Or, how would this CSS technique make a restaurant's menu more appealing on mobile phones? Integrating her free resources created a surprisingly comprehensive learning ecosystem. She'd watch structured lessons on Free Code Camp, practice coding challenges to cement concepts, then build mini projects, applying those skills. When stuck, she'd search for solutions on developer forums, learning how experienced programmers approached similar problems. By month 3, Christine had developed a surprisingly robust skill set without spending a single dollar on courses or boot camps. Her portfolio consisted of about a dozen small projects, none particularly impressive on their own, but together demonstrating clear progression and practical ability. The question now looming over her: how does someone with 3 months of self-taught skills convince strangers to pay them real money? Christine found herself at the edge of the learning cliff that stops most career changers. She had skills but no professional experience, knowledge but no client history, ability but no portfolio of paid work. The gap between "I can build a website" and "someone will pay me to build their website" suddenly seemed enormous. What she did next would challenge everything most freelancers believe about breaking into paid work. First clients, breaking the no experience barrier. Most freelancers dream of being paid for their skills, but when Christine finally completed her training, she hit the wall that stops 83% of beginners cold. How do you get clients to hire you when you've got nothing to show them? Christine stared at her computer screen, heart racing as her finger hovered over the send button. She'd crafted what she thought was a compelling proposal for a local boutique's website redesign. After taking a deep breath, she clicked send and waited, and waited. 3 days later, the rejection arrived, polite but firm. "Thank you for your interest, but we're looking for someone with more experience." This scene repeated itself 4 more times over the next 2 weeks. Each rejection hit harder than the last. "I remember questioning everything," Christine said. "I had these skills I'd worked so hard to learn, but convincing someone to take a chance on me felt impossible." After her 5th rejection, Christine decided to analyze what wasn't working. The common thread? Her proposals were too general. She was positioning herself as a jack of all trades, offering web development and digital marketing, terms so broad they did little to showcase her specific expertise or solve particular problems. "I realized I was blending into the crowd of every other new freelancer," Christine explained. "I needed to stand out by being ultra-specific about exactly what I could deliver." Rather than marketing herself as a generic web developer, Christine niched down dramatically. Instead of offering websites, she began offering responsive single-page websites for local service businesses that load in under 2 seconds and include contact forms that convert at 15%. This hyper-specific offering immediately differentiated her from the sea of general freelancers competing for the same clients. But Christine still faced the chicken and egg problem. Clients wanted to see previous work, but she needed clients to build that portfolio. Her breakthrough came when she adopted what she called her results-first approach. "I decided to flip the traditional client acquisition model on its head," Christine explained. "Instead of asking for payment up front, I'd offer a small, specific deliverable for free to demonstrate my value, then leverage that into paid work." She identified a local daycare center with an outdated website and reached out with a specific proposal. Here's the exact template she used. "Hi name, I noticed your daycare's website isn't mobile friendly, which is causing you to lose potential clients who browse on phones. That's 68% of parents with young children. I'd like to create a mobile responsive homepage for you at no cost to show you what's possible. If you like the results, we can discuss upgrading your full site. Either way, you can keep the homepage I build. Would Tuesday or Thursday work better for a quick 15-minute call?" This approach worked for 3 critical reasons. It identified a specific problem, offered a concrete solution with no financial risk, and included a clear next step. The daycare owner responded within hours. Christine delivered an impressive mobile homepage that loaded dramatically faster than their existing site. The owner was thrilled and immediately asked what it would cost to update their entire website. Christine secured her first $200 project. "The key was exceeding their expectations on that free sample," Christine noted. "I didn't just create a mobile homepage. I added little touches like improved font readability and a prominent contact button that started generating calls almost immediately." Christine then implemented what would become her signature strategy, actively seeking referrals by making it easy for satisfied clients to recommend her. After completing the daycare website ahead of schedule, she sent a follow-up email that included this critical paragraph. "I'm so glad you're happy with your new website. As a new freelancer building my business, referrals are incredibly valuable to me. Would you know 1 to 2 other local business owners who might benefit from a website update? I'd be grateful for an introduction if you feel comfortable making one." This straightforward request yielded 2 immediate referrals, another daycare center and a local tutoring service, both of which converted into paying projects. By specifically asking for recommendations rather than hoping they'd happen organically, Christine accelerated her client acquisition dramatically. What made Christine's approach particularly effective was her understanding that relationships and networking within her industry would lead to sustained work. Statistics show that freelancers who focus on building relationships are significantly more likely to secure repeat clients and referrals, the lifeblood of a successful freelance career. As her confidence grew, Christine refined her outreach strategy. She began personalizing each message based on thorough research of the business she was contacting. For a local bakery, she noted specific opportunities to showcase their products better online. For a plumber, she highlighted how their competitors were using online booking to capture emergency calls. This level of customization in her outreach resulted in response rates nearly 3 times higher than her initial generic messages. People can feel the difference between a mass email and one that's genuinely crafted for them, Christine observed. While building these direct client relationships, Christine also established profiles on platforms like Upwork and Fiverr as supplementary channels. Though these platforms took a percentage of her earnings, they provided a steady stream of smaller projects that helped fill gaps between her larger client work. Platforms aren't the end goal, but they're useful training grounds, Christine explained. They taught me to write better proposals, manage client expectations, and deliver consistently high-quality work under deadline pressure. Christine also developed a strategic pricing approach. She started with rates slightly below market average to attract her first clients, but included a clear timeline for rate increases in her contracts. After completing 3 successful projects, she raised her rates by 25%, then another 20% after 5 more, gradually aligning her pricing with her growing expertise and portfolio. What most beginners don't realize is that pricing signals value, Christine noted. When I charged too little, clients actually questioned my competence. Finding that sweet spot, affordable enough to be competitive but high enough to signal quality, was crucial. The turning point came when Christine reached what she called referral velocity, the moment when her completed projects generated enough referrals to create a sustainable pipeline of new opportunities. This happened after her 7th paid project, approximately 4 months into her freelancing journey. Work-life balance, the single parent's time management system. With clients finally coming in steadily, Christine hit a wall that many freelancing parents face but few overcome: the crushing reality of having just 24 hours to be both a dedicated mom and a growing business owner. While her client acquisition strategy was working, she quickly discovered that getting clients was only half the battle. Now she faced the seemingly impossible challenge of delivering quality work on time while single-handedly raising 2 young children who needed her constant attention. In those first weeks of freelancing, Christine tried working whenever she could grab a few minutes, during breakfast, while the kids played, or even in 5-minute bursts between household tasks. The result was predictably chaotic. Her workspace was the kitchen table, where cereal spills threatened her laptop and interrupted Zoom calls became the norm rather than the exception. "I thought I could just power through and make it work, but the reality was much harsher," Christine later explained. "I was constantly stopping and starting, never getting into a flow state, and the quality of my work suffered." The breaking point came during week 6 of her freelancing journey. Christine had promised a redesigned homepage to an important client by Friday. But on Wednesday, Emma came home from school with a fever that quickly spiked to 102 degrees Fahrenheit. For the next 48 hours, Christine barely slept as she tended to her daughter while desperately trying to finish the project during brief moments when Emma dozed off. By Friday afternoon, with the deadline looming, Christine had to send an apologetic email asking for an extension. The client was understanding but made it clear that reliability was essential for their ongoing relationship. That night, after both children were finally asleep, Christine sat at her kitchen table surrounded by tissues and children's medicine, realizing something had to change. "I couldn't keep working in survival mode," she recalled. "Either I needed a system or I needed to admit defeat." That weekend, Christine researched time management strategies specifically for working parents. She discovered that most productivity advice assumed uninterrupted work blocks that simply didn't exist in her reality. What she needed wasn't standard productivity tips, but a complete restructuring of how she approached her day. The result was what Christine called her time block fortress system, a method of organizing her day that protected critical work periods while accommodating the unpredictable nature of parenting. The core of this system involved categorizing tasks by both energy level and focus requirements. "I realize not all work requires the same type of attention," Christine explained. "Some tasks need deep focus, while others can be done even with interruptions. Once I matched my tasks to my energy levels and the likelihood of disruptions during different parts of the day, everything changed." Christine's daily schedule transformed into a carefully orchestrated rhythm. Early morning, 5 to 7 a.m., before the kids woke up, became her deep work fortress, a sacred time for coding, design work, and complex problem-solving that required uninterrupted focus. Christine protected this time fiercely, using the Pomodoro technique to work in focused 25-minute sprints. School hours, 9 to 11 a.m. Once the kids were at school, Christine dedicated this time to client communication, project planning, and administrative tasks. These were important activities that required attention but could withstand brief interruptions if necessary. Afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. While her youngest napped, Christine used this time for skill development and learning new techniques. This period became her growth zone where she expanded her capabilities in a focused environment. Evening, 8 to 10 p.m. After the children's bedtime, Christine focused on portfolio building, lower-pressure creative work, and preparing for the next day. This was her wind-down fortress, productive but less intense than her morning session. But Christine knew that even the best schedule would fall apart without contingency plans. Children get sick, schools close unexpectedly, and life happens, so she developed what she called her Parentpreneur Emergency Toolkit. First, she created backup childcare arrangements with 2 other single parents in her neighborhood, forming a mutual support network. They agreed to help each other during genuine work emergencies, creating a safety net that all 3 parents could rely on. Second, she child-proofed a dedicated workspace in her apartment, creating clear boundaries between her work area and play spaces. This included securing all cords, covering electrical outlets, and keeping work equipment out of reach. She explained to her children that when mom was in her work chair, interruptions were only for emergencies. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Christine was transparent with clients about her situation as a single parent. Rather than hiding her circumstances, she proactively addressed them during contract negotiations, building flexibility into deadlines and deliverables. I found that being upfront about my situation actually strengthened client relationships, Christine noted. I would build in buffer time on all projects and set clear expectations about my working hours. Most clients appreciated the honesty and were willing to work with my schedule as long as I delivered quality work. Christine also implemented a simple but effective communication protocol with clients. She would be available for scheduled calls during school hours, but relied on asynchronous communication like email for other times. This allowed her to respond thoughtfully when her attention wasn't divided. One of her most valuable discoveries was integrating her children into appropriate aspects of her work routine. She created parallel work time, where her kids would do homework or crafts at the table while she handled less intensive tasks. This not only allowed her to supervise them while being productive, but also modeled a strong work ethic. My kids started seeing my work as something we were all part of, rather than something taking me away from them, Christine explained. Emma would proudly tell her friends that she was helping mom with her business when she played quietly during important calls. The transformative power of Christine's system wasn't just in the schedule itself, but in the mindset shift it represented. She stopped trying to separate her roles as mother and business owner, and instead found ways to integrate them. This meant accepting that interruptions would happen and building a routine that could flex without breaking. For focused work sessions, Christine adopted a modified Pomodoro technique, working in 25-minute intervals followed by 5-minute breaks. This approach helped her maintain concentration while also creating natural pauses to check on her children. During these short breaks, she could quickly address minor needs without derailing her productivity. Another key element was creating physical signals that helped her children understand when interruptions were acceptable. Christine used a simple system. A green card on her desk meant they could come in with questions, while a red card signaled that interruptions were only for emergencies. This visual cue helped even her young children respect her work boundaries. Perhaps most crucially, Christine learned to let go of perfectionism. She accepted that some days would be more productive than others, and that work-life integration would never be seamless. By embracing this reality rather than fighting it, she reduced her stress levels significantly. The biggest breakthrough was realizing I couldn't do everything perfectly, but I could do the important things well enough, Christine reflected. Some days the house was messier than I'd like, or dinner was simpler than planned, but I was building something meaningful for our future. The results of Christine's time management system extended beyond just meeting deadlines. Her clients began to comment on her efficiency and organization. Several noted that, despite her family responsibilities, she was more responsive and reliable than freelancers without children. What had initially seemed like a disadvantage became, with proper systems, a competitive edge. Income expansion, from one-off projects to consistent revenue streams. With her time management system creating stability in her daily routine, Christine turned her attention to a startling reality about her income. While clients were coming in steadily, her bank balance resembled a roller coaster. This revelation would completely transform how she approached her business and ultimately lead to the financial freedom that most freelancers only dream about. Despite landing consistent clients and delivering quality work, Christine's income graph showed dramatic spikes followed by terrifying valleys. One month she'd earn $2,000, and the next she'd barely break $800. This financial uncertainty was creating a new kind of stress. She could manage her time effectively, but her bank account remained unstable. "I was working harder than ever, but I couldn't count on a consistent paycheck," Christine recalled. "I'd complete a project, get paid, and then scramble to find the next client. It felt like I was constantly starting from zero." The breaking point came when Christine sat down to analyze her client roster. She created a spreadsheet, tracking how much time she spent on each project versus how much revenue it generated. What she discovered aligned perfectly with what economists call the Pareto principle. A shocking 80% of her income was coming from just 20% of her clients. Even more revealing, she was spending countless hours on small, one-off projects that barely moved the needle on her monthly earnings. This insight prompted Christine to completely reimagine her business model. Rather than chasing every potential project, she needed to focus on creating stable, predictable income streams. In 2023, American freelancers contributed approximately $1.27 trillion in annual earnings to the U.S. economy, and Christine wanted to secure her piece of that pie with more stability. Her first strategic pivot was developing recurring revenue models. Instead of building websites as one-time projects, she created monthly website maintenance packages where clients paid a predictable fee for ongoing updates, security monitoring, and technical support. These retainers transformed her income from sporadic project payments to dependable monthly revenue. The maintenance packages were a game changer, Christine explained. "I went from charging $1,200 for a one-time website build to earning $300 monthly from that same client for ongoing work that actually took less of my time." She expanded this approach to her other services. For digital marketing clients, Christine developed ongoing social media management programs where businesses paid monthly for consistent content creation and posting. For content clients, she created retainer agreements for a set number of blog posts or email newsletters each month. The beauty of this approach was twofold. Clients received consistent service, and Christine gained income predictability. She no longer had to constantly hunt for new projects. She could count on a base level of monthly income before taking on any additional work. Christine also revolutionized her sales process by creating clear service packages with tiered pricing. Rather than custom quoting every project, she developed 3 distinct offerings for each service: Basic, Pro, and Premium. Each tier had specific deliverables and pricing, making it easier for clients to understand exactly what they were getting. For website maintenance, the Basic package included monthly updates and security monitoring for $200 per month. The Pro package added performance optimization and minor content updates for $300 a month. The Premium tier included everything, plus priority support and monthly strategy calls for $450 a month. This approach simplified sales conversations dramatically. Instead of lengthy negotiations about scope and price, clients could simply choose the package that fit their needs and budget. Christine found that many clients who might have hesitated at a custom quote readily signed up for her clearly defined packages. To support her new business model, Christine developed systems and templates that allowed her to deliver consistent results in less time. She created standard operating procedures for common tasks, built a library of reusable design elements, and established templated workflows for recurring deliverables. For social media management, she developed content calendars that could be quickly customized for different clients. For website maintenance, she created checklists that ensured no critical tasks were missed. These systems meant Christine could provide high-quality service while spending less time on each client. The templates were crucial for scaling my income without scaling my hours, Christine noted. I could onboard a new maintenance client in under an hour instead of the full day it used to take me. With her core clients now providing reliable monthly income, Christine looked for ways to fill any remaining gaps. She expanded to online platforms like Upwork and Fiverr, where she could find supplementary projects during slower periods. These platforms proved particularly valuable for freelancers in her field. Web development, digital marketing, and content creation were consistently in high demand. Christine approached these platforms strategically, focusing only on projects that aligned with her expertise and paid appropriate rates. On these platforms, web developers typically earn between $15 to $30 per hour, while specialized roles like software developers can command $10 to $100 per hour, depending on their skill set. Christine positioned herself in the upper ranges by emphasizing her specific expertise rather than competing on price. The combination of recurring client revenue and strategic platform work created the stability Christine had been seeking. When she analyzed her income after implementing these changes, she discovered something remarkable. Her monthly revenue had not only stabilized but significantly increased. The feast or famine cycle had been replaced by predictable growing income. By the 8-month mark of her freelancing journey, Christine's financial picture had completely transformed. Her income was no longer tied directly to her hours worked. She had created systems where money flowed in consistently, even during weeks when client emergencies or family needs required her attention. The specific platforms that proved most profitable for Christine aligned with industry trends. Upwork became her primary source of supplementary projects, particularly for web development work. For quick turnaround content creation tasks, Fiverr provided a steady stream of opportunities. Both platforms allowed her to showcase her portfolio and build reviews that attracted higher-paying clients over time. But the real secret to Christine's success wasn't just which platforms she used. It was how she structured her offerings on those platforms. Instead of competing with thousands of other freelancers offering generic services, Christine created highly specialized packages that solved specific problems for specific types of clients. On Upwork, rather than listing herself as a web developer, she positioned herself as a conversion-focused website designer for service businesses. On Fiverr, instead of offering general content writing, she provided SEO-optimized blog posts for financial advisors. These specialized offerings commanded premium rates and attracted clients who valued expertise over the lowest price. Christine's approach to service packaging revolutionized her client conversations. By presenting clear deliverables and pricing tiers, she eliminated the awkward negotiation phase that often plagued freelance work. Clients could easily understand the value they were receiving, and Christine could confidently communicate her rates without underselling herself. The income data told the story. 3 months after implementing her recurring revenue model, Christine's monthly income had stabilized at around $4,000. 6 months in, as her client base grew and her systems became more efficient, she crossed the $5,000 threshold. By month 9, she consistently earned between $6,000 and $6,500 monthly, more than she'd made at her former tech job, with greater flexibility and control. Perhaps most importantly, this income didn't require Christine to work more hours. In fact, she often worked fewer hours than at her corporate job. The combination of recurring revenue, efficient systems, and strategic packaging meant she could earn more while maintaining the flexibility her family needed. The feast or famine cycle that plagues many freelancers. Income breakdown inside Christine's $6,500 monthly revenue. Ever wondered exactly how much money you can make from different freelance skills and which ones are worth focusing on first? Looking at Christine's income transformation gives us a fascinating window into which skills actually pay the most consistently. While her income stabilized and grew, the real eye-opener is breaking down exactly where that $6,500 comes from each month. Let's peek behind the curtain at Christine's income sources. What stands out immediately is how her web development skills generate nearly half of her monthly revenue. Of her $6,500 monthly income, 2,640% comes from web development services, primarily those recurring maintenance packages she created. The technical nature of this work allows her to charge premium rates compared to her other services. Digital marketing services contribute $1,950, 30% to her monthly total. This includes her SEO services, social media management, and search ad campaign management. Content creation brings in $1,300, 20%, covering blog writing, email newsletters, and social media content for her regular clients. The remaining $650, 10%, comes from platform-based work through Upwork and Fiverr, which she uses strategically to fill gaps in her schedule. What's particularly interesting is comparing these figures to industry standards. Web developers in the freelance market typically earn between $15 and $30 per hour, but Christine's specialized approach targeting service businesses means she's positioning herself at the upper end of this range. Programmers with more technical expertise can command between $21 and $55 hourly, showing the value of technical skills in today's marketplace. Christine's early days looked dramatically different. During her first month freelancing, she earned just $650. Ironically, the same amount she now makes from her fill-in platform work alone. That initial income barely covered a fraction of her monthly expenses, creating tremendous financial pressure. Her transformation to $6,500 represents a 900% increase in just under a year. The path between those numbers wasn't a straight line. Month 2 saw her income climb to $1,200 as she secured additional one-off projects. By month 4, after implementing her recurring revenue packages, her income stabilized around $3,800. Month 6 marked an important milestone when she crossed the $5,000 threshold after raising her rates for the second time. The final push to $6,500 happened around month 9 when she optimized her service offerings and client mix. Not all skills monetized at the same rate or ease. Web development provided the fastest return on investment. Within just 3 weeks of completing her basic HTML CSS training, Christine landed her first paid project. The technical nature of web development, combined with businesses' urgent need for mobile responsive websites, created immediate opportunities. Digital marketing skills took longer to monetize effectively. While Christine could demonstrate theoretical knowledge from her Google certification, clients wanted to see actual results before committing to larger contracts. She spent approximately 2 months building a track record with smaller projects before securing her first recurring marketing client. Content creation fell somewhere in the middle. Christine leveraged her existing writing abilities but needed to learn SEO principles and content marketing strategy to command higher rates. After about 5 weeks of study and practice, she began earning from these skills. When examining profit margins, Christine's monthly income looks different after accounting for expenses. Her typical monthly business expenses include $250 for software subscriptions, design tools, SEO platforms, and project management systems, $320 for occasional childcare during client meetings, and approximately $1,600 set aside for quarterly tax payments. This leaves her with around $4,330 in take-home pay. Still well above her previous situation, but highlighting the importance of accounting for freelance expenses. Web development maintains the highest profit margin of all her services. Once Christine creates templates and systems, each new client requires minimal additional resources. Digital marketing requires more ongoing software tools, reducing the profit margin slightly. Content creation falls somewhere in the middle, requiring time but few additional expenses. One fascinating insight from Christine's journey is how she strategically combined these skills to maximize her income. Rather than treating them as separate services, she created packages that bundled complementary offerings. For instance, a client might start with a website redesign, web development, but then sign up for monthly blog posts, content creation, and SEO management, digital marketing. This approach dramatically increased her average client value without requiring substantially more time. Specific breakthrough moments accelerated Christine's income growth. In month 3, she landed her first anchor client, a regional service business that contracted her for website maintenance, weekly blog posts, and email newsletter management. This single client accounted for $1,200 monthly, providing crucial stability. In month 5, she raised her rates for the first time across all services, increasing income without adding more work hours. By month 7, she had refined her client onboarding process to be so efficient she could set up a new maintenance client in under an hour. The most significant income jump came in month 8, when Christine made a strategic decision to specialize in service-based businesses rather than trying to work with any client who came along. This market focus allowed her to create highly specialized offerings that commanded premium rates and attracted clients who valued expertise over the lowest price. For those looking to apply these insights to their own situation, the key takeaway is prioritizing skills based on both market demand and personal aptitude. Technical skills like web development consistently command higher rates, but require dedicated learning time. Marketing skills offer great versatility across industries, but need proven results to earn premium rates. Content creation has the lowest barrier to entry, but requires specialized knowledge to stand out from the crowded marketplace. What's particularly encouraging about Christine's income breakdown is that it didn't require working more hours than a traditional job. By focusing on high-value skills, packaging services strategically, and implementing efficient systems, she actually worked fewer than 40 hours most weeks, while earning more than her previous corporate salary. Examining Christine's month-by-month progression reveals how strategic decision-making accelerated her income growth. From months 1 to 3, she focused primarily on building skills and securing initial clients, with income growing slowly from $650 to $2,100. Months 4 through 6 marked her systems development phase, where she created templates, packages, and processes that allowed her to work more efficiently, pushing income from $3,800 to $5,200. The final phase from months 7 through 11 involved optimization, refining her client mix, raising rates, and maximizing the value of each working hour, which stabilized her income between $6,000 and $6,500. Overcoming obstacles, Christine's biggest challenge and how she solved it. Month 7 marked the beginning of Christine's optimization phase, but the charts don't reveal the catastrophic event that nearly derailed everything she'd built. Behind those neat income figures lies the story of Christine's greatest challenge, one that forced her to confront a harsh reality about freelancing that most success stories conveniently leave out of their highlight reels. Just as Christine's monthly income had stabilized around that sweet $6,000 mark, disaster struck without warning. In a single devastating week, Christine lost her 2 largest clients. One company downsized their marketing budget, while the other brought her services in-house. These 2 clients represented nearly 45% of her monthly revenue, which vanished practically overnight. The psychological impact hit even harder than the financial one. After months of building confidence and stability, Christine found herself staring at her income projections with that all-too-familiar knot of anxiety forming in her stomach again. For the first time since starting her freelance journey, she had to dip into her emergency fund just to cover basic expenses. I remember sitting at my kitchen table after the kids went to bed, looking at my budget spreadsheet and feeling that same panic I felt when I lost my job, Christine told me. I seriously considered giving up and applying for traditional jobs again, thinking maybe freelancing was just too unstable for a single mom. This crisis revealed a startling statistic that Christine had never considered. Research shows that 75% of single mothers in Utah could maintain their current standard of living for less than a month if they experienced an income interruption. Christine was witnessing this vulnerability firsthand, and it shook her to her core. The financial hardship was compounded by her dual responsibilities. Unlike freelancers without children, Christine couldn't simply work around the clock to acquire new clients. She had to maintain her carefully structured schedule around her children's needs. The pressure was immense, and the temptation to abandon her freelance path grew stronger with each passing day. There were nights I'd put the kids to bed, then just sit and cry, Christine confessed. The financial stress triggered anxiety I hadn't felt since those first desperate weeks after losing my job. I kept thinking about what would happen if I couldn't bounce back. But rather than surrendering to panic, Christine decided to analyze what went wrong. She realized her fundamental mistake, relying too heavily on just a few major clients. This revelation led to her developing what she now calls her client diversification rule, a strategic approach ensuring that no single client would ever again represent more than 20% of her monthly income. This wasn't just about finding more clients. It required a complete restructuring of her business model. Christine began diversifying across different types of clients and industries. She signed contracts with small business owners, mid-sized companies, and even partnered with another freelancer who needed her skills for larger projects. Each client represented a smaller percentage of her income, but collectively created a more stable revenue foundation. Christine also implemented a proactive client acquisition system instead of relying primarily on referrals and platform algorithms. She developed a consistent outreach routine, spending 2 hours every Monday sending personalized proposals to potential clients, regardless of how busy she was with current projects. I realized I needed to be constantly filling my client pipeline, even when I didn't immediately need the work, Christine explained. It's like planting seeds that would sprout at different times, ensuring I always had new opportunities coming in. Beyond diversifying her client base, Christine recognized the critical importance of building a financial buffer. Single parents often lack formal safety nets to guard against economic shocks, leaving them particularly vulnerable to unexpected income drops. With this in mind, Christine committed to building a minimal emergency fund even while balancing her other financial priorities. She started by setting aside just 5% of each payment, gradually increasing this amount as her income stabilized. Her goal was to accumulate 3 to 6 months of living expenses, the recommended amount for self-employed individuals to weather income fluctuations. This wasn't easy with children to support, but she made it a non-negotiable part of her financial plan. Creating that emergency fund was like building a psychological safety net, as much as a financial one, Christine noted. Just knowing it was there gave me the confidence to weather temporary setbacks without spiraling into panic. The challenges of balancing work and childcare remain significant. Research confirms that single parents often struggle with accessing affordable childcare, which directly impacts their ability to work consistently. Christine tackled this by expanding her support network, reaching out to other parents for mutual childcare exchanges, and scheduling client meetings during school hours whenever possible. She implemented structured time management strategies, creating a daily schedule that aligned her most demanding work tasks with her children's school or nap times. This maximized her productivity during those critical hours when she could work uninterrupted. I learned that I couldn't do everything alone, Christine admitted. I had to get comfortable asking for help from family, friends, and even professional childcare services when necessary. That support system became crucial to my business stability. The emotional toll of financial instability can't be overstated. Studies show that financial stress significantly contributes to mental health issues in single-parent households, including increased rates of depression and anxiety. Christine prioritized her mental well-being by joining online communities of freelancing parents who understood her unique challenges. These connections provided not just emotional support but practical advice from others who had navigated similar situations. Christine also incorporated brief daily meditation and weekly planning sessions to manage her stress levels and maintain perspective during difficult periods. By month 9, Christine had fully implemented her risk management strategies, and the results were remarkable. When another client unexpectedly reduced their budget 3 months later, the impact was minimal, representing only 15% of her income rather than the devastating 45% she'd experienced before. More importantly, her diversified client base and proactive acquisition system meant she had 3 new projects ready to launch that same month. The difference was night and day, Christine reflected. Instead of panicking, I felt prepared. My business didn't just survive this time, it barely noticed the blip. The most powerful lesson from Christine's experience isn't just about having multiple clients. It's about creating systematic resilience across every aspect of her business and life. She developed redundancies in her income sources, her childcare arrangements, and her client acquisition methods. This multi-layered approach to risk management transformed potential catastrophes into manageable challenges. For freelancers, especially single parents, this concept of systematic resilience offers protection against the inevitable ups and downs of self-employment. Christine's story demonstrates that it's not enough to build income streams. You must build them with deliberate protection against potential disruptions. This phase of Christine's journey reveals the hidden truth behind sustainable freelance success. It's not just skill development or client acquisition, it's creating systems that can withstand financial shocks. Her approach transformed a crisis into a crucial turning point. Your action plan ultimately implementing Christine's systems in your own life. Systems were Christine's secret weapon, but what if you could implement her exact blueprint without experiencing the same painful setbacks? Behind her $6,500 monthly income isn't just determination, it's a replicable framework anyone can follow, regardless of your starting point or current financial situation. Let's break down the exact action plan that can transform your financial reality, just like it did for Christine. This isn't about vague inspiration. It's a concrete roadmap you can start implementing today, even if you're starting from zero or juggling major responsibilities. Before diving in, let's address what's probably on your mind. Can someone like me really do this? Maybe you're thinking you don't have enough time, technical skills, or connections. Perhaps you're worried about the financial risk or afraid of failing publicly. These concerns are completely natural. Christine had them too. But here's the truth. Freelancing success isn't about special talents or lucky breaks. It's about following a proven system and making consistent progress, even when that progress feels small. Let's start with Phase 1, Skills Inventory and Learning Plan. This 2-week foundation building phase is crucial for setting yourself up for success. Begin by conducting an honest assessment of your existing skills. What do you already know how to do? What transferable abilities do you have from previous jobs or hobbies? This isn't just about technical skills. Organization, communication, and problem solving are all valuable in the freelance marketplace. Once you've identified your current strengths, research which skills align with market demand. The freelance marketplace rewards specialists who can solve specific problems. For web developers, rates typically range from $15 to $30 per hour, while programmers with more specialized expertise can command $21 to $55. Your goal during this phase is to identify the intersection between skills you can reasonably develop and services people are willing to pay for. Create a focused learning plan based on your assessment. Block out dedicated time slots in your calendar for skill development. Consistency matters more than duration. Even 30 minutes daily can yield significant results over time. Identify specific free resources that align with your skill goals and create clear milestones to track your progress. Moving into Phase 2, Portfolio Building and First Clients. This 4 to 6 week phase transforms theoretical knowledge into practical evidence of your capabilities. Instead of waiting until you feel ready, start creating sample projects that showcase your developing skills. Remember, your first projects don't need to be perfect. They just need to demonstrate your ability to deliver results. For your portfolio, focus on quality over quantity. 3 outstanding samples that directly relate to your target services will outperform a dozen mediocre projects. Frame each portfolio piece around the problem it solves rather than just listing features or capabilities. Clients care about outcomes, not technical specifications. When approaching your first clients, adopt a prove-then-charge mindset. Identify businesses in your network that could benefit from your services and offer to solve a small, specific problem for free. This limited scope work creates a low-risk opportunity for potential clients to experience your value firsthand. Create a simple outreach template that focuses on the recipient's challenges rather than your own need for work. Personalize each message with specific observations about their business and a clear suggestion for improvement. This approach positions you as a problem solver rather than just another freelancer looking for work. Track your proposal to response rate during this phase. If you're sending outreach messages but not getting replies, refine your approach. Remember that client acquisition is a numbers game. Expect to hear no or nothing at all from most prospects. Each rejection brings you one step closer to a yes. Phase 3. Systems development and scaling takes place over 3 to 6 months and focuses on transforming initial success into sustainable income. This is where you'll build the infrastructure to support consistent growth without burning out. Start by creating templates for recurring tasks like client onboarding, project management, and invoicing. Document your processes for everything from initial client communication to final delivery. These systems might seem unnecessary when you only have a few clients, but they become crucial as your business grows. Develop service packages with clear deliverables and pricing tiers. These structured offerings simplify the sales process for both you and your clients. Creating a business plan that outlines your goals, rates, and growth projections will help you stay focused on long-term success rather than just chasing the next project. Implement a client relationship management system to track interactions and foster repeat business. As your research indicates, building relationships with clients can lead to repeat business and referrals, which are vital for sustaining income. Set reminders for regular check-ins with past clients and create a system for requesting testimonials and referrals after successful projects. Throughout your freelance journey, tracking specific metrics will help you identify opportunities for improvement. Monitor your income consistency, client retention rates, and the number of new clients acquired. These numbers reveal the health of your business beyond just the total revenue. Keep track of your project completion time to better estimate future work and increase your efficiency. Monitor your hourly effective rate, total project payment divided by hours worked, to ensure you're pricing your services appropriately. Finally, track your client satisfaction through feedback and referral rates. Satisfied clients are the foundation of a sustainable freelance business. 3 specific strategies you can implement this week to jumpstart your transformation. First, complete a comprehensive skills assessment using the downloadable template in our resource guide. This structured process will help you identify your marketable strengths and prioritize your learning goals based on market demand rather than personal preference. Second, establish a dedicated workspace and implement a time-blocking system that aligns with your personal circumstances. This doesn't require elaborate setups, just a consistent environment with clear boundaries between work and personal time. Leveraging technology like mobile banking and project management software can dramatically improve your efficiency. Third, create your minimum viable portfolio by building one sample project that demonstrates your core skills. This doesn't need to be for a real client. A self-assigned project that solves a common problem in your target market will suffice. This tangible proof of your capabilities will make your first client conversations significantly more productive. The downloadable resource guide includes everything you need to implement Christine's system: skills assessment templates, learning resource directories, client outreach scripts, service package frameworks, and systems documentation guides. These tools compress months of trial and error into actionable steps you can implement immediately. Beyond income, the real freedom in Christine's new life. Option 2 speaks to me most, as it highlights the true transformation beyond just numbers. Let me expand on that idea. While those tools helped Christine build her income to $6,500 monthly, the numbers only tell half the story. The real transformation happened in ways no spreadsheet could capture. From bedtime stories she no longer had to miss, to the profound shift in her mental health. Now that financial anxiety doesn't consume her every waking thought. 11 months ago, Christine's day started with dread. She'd jolt awake at 5 a.m., her mind racing with calculations, which bills could wait, how to stretch groceries another day, what excuse she'd give her landlord this time. The constant weight of financial insecurity followed her everywhere. She'd check her phone during her children's soccer games, not to take photos, but to refresh her email for potential job responses. When Emma asked for help with homework, Christine's mind would wander to unpaid bills. Even tucking her kids in at night was tinged with worry, as she wondered how much longer she could keep their home. Today, Christine's mornings begin differently. She still wakes early, but by choice. Those precious morning hours aren't filled with panic applications, but deep, focused work that energizes rather than depletes her. When her children wake up, she's fully present, mentally and emotionally available in a way that was impossible before. The transformation goes far beyond the dollars in her bank account. Research shows that financial stress significantly affects parenting and family dynamics, with single mothers experiencing higher levels of stress and depression compared to partnered mothers. Christine lived this reality. The psychological toll of her financial instability created a constant undercurrent of anxiety that affected every interaction with her children. "I used to be physically present but mentally absent," Christine admits. "I'd nod along while Emma told me about her day, but I wasn't really listening. I was calculating how many more freelance hours I needed to make rent." The most profound change in Christine's life isn't the income stability, it's the mental freedom that comes with it. Studies confirm that the psychological well-being of single mothers is often compromised due to financial instability, leading to greater incidence of depressive symptoms and anxiety. Christine's experience mirrors these findings. As her financial situation stabilized, her mental health transformed. The persistent knot in her stomach unraveled. The headaches that plagued her for months disappeared. She started sleeping through the night instead of waking in panic at 3 a.m. This mental transformation created space for something even more valuable: quality time with her children. With her flexible schedule, Christine can structure her workday around her family's needs rather than the other way around. Research indicates that flexible work arrangements lead to significant quality of life improvements for parents, allowing them to better balance work and family responsibilities, which enhances their overall well-being. Christine now attends every school event without the distraction of wondering how much billable work she's missing. Last month, when Lucas had his first lead role in the school play, Christine wasn't just there physically. She was emotionally present, fully immersed in her son's moment, rather than mentally calculating income lost by taking the afternoon off. "When I worked corporate, I had to miss Emma's science fair because of an unmissable client meeting," Christine recalls. "Now I structure my client calls around their important events. I haven't missed a single one since establishing my business." This presence extends to everyday moments, too. Mornings aren't rushed affairs with everyone running in different directions. Christine has time for proper breakfasts with her children, checking in about their upcoming days. Afternoons include helping with homework without constantly checking her phone for work emergencies. Weekends are truly weekends, time for family hikes and movie nights without the cloud of work hanging over them. Christine's financial position has fundamentally changed as well. She's not just earning more, she's managing it differently. After paying off her $8,200 credit card debt within 8 months, she built a 6-month emergency fund, something she never thought possible on her previous salary. This financial buffer creates a sense of security she hasn't experienced since before her divorce. The impact of reliable childcare can't be overstated in Christine's transformation. Research shows that when single mothers have access to reliable childcare, their employment rates significantly increase. Christine strategically built her business model to accommodate her children's schedules, working intensively during school hours and after bedtime. This approach allowed her to be present for her children while still growing her business. "I used to feel this crushing guilt all the time," Christine explains. "Guilt about working when I was with my kids, guilt about not working enough to provide for them, guilt about being too tired to be the mom they deserved. That constant guilt has lifted. I can be fully present in whatever role I'm in at the moment." A structured daily schedule with dedicated work hours and family time has enhanced Christine's productivity, allowing her to be present for her children while managing work responsibilities. Her mornings might include client calls during school hours, while afternoons are reserved for picking up her children and being fully engaged in their activities. The flexibility of Christine's work arrangement has transformed bedtime routines from rushed affairs to meaningful connection points. Instead of hurrying through stories to get back to work, Christine and her children have created elaborate bedtime rituals, reading chapter books together, sharing 3 good things about their day, and planning weekend adventures. Christine's ability to work flexibly and manage her own schedule has led to increased job satisfaction and a sense of control over her life, both essential for mental health and well-being. The pride her children feel in her work is palpable too. They understand that mom is building something important, something that provides for their family while allowing her to be there for their important moments. This transformation has ripple effects beyond Christine's immediate family. She now volunteers at her children's school once a month, something impossible in her previous rigid work environment. She's built stronger relationships with other parents, creating a support network that enriches all their lives. She even mentors 2 other single mothers who are starting their own freelance journeys. Perhaps most importantly, Christine is modeling financial independence and resilience for her children. They've witnessed her transform crisis into opportunity, seen her learn new skills and build something from nothing. These lessons in perseverance and self-reliance are gifts that extend far beyond material provision. Last week, Emma told me she wants to build websites when she grows up, Christine says with a smile. But more importantly, she said she wants to be her own boss like Mommy. That's when I realized my journey isn't just changing our present, it's reshaping how my children see their future possibilities. The freelance revolution isn't just a temporary trend, it's reshaping the future of work. With projections showing the freelance economy could reach $9.57 million by 2030, what Christine accomplished isn't just inspirational, it's a blueprint for a sustainable career path that's increasingly viable for millions. What makes Christine's journey truly remarkable isn't just the dollar amount in her bank account. It's that she proved financial security doesn't require the traditional employment path, especially for single parents juggling childcare responsibilities. The flexibility of freelancing allowed her to be both the primary earner and caregiver, something traditional jobs rarely accommodate. The most powerful takeaway, building multiple income streams through strategic skill development creates long-term financial stability. In today's uncertain economy, this approach offers protection against job loss and industry downturns while improving overall quality of life. Your journey begins with a single decision. Will you keep hoping for the perfect job,